Jose Mourinho then looks like he's closing in on Manchester United being the next manager, and I thought I'd give my thoughts on the situation. Now, he was actually the one that I wanted to replace Sir Alex Ferguson when he retired about 3 years ago. Now, he's got such a good pedigree. He's won countless trophies in England and abroad, and he is a real true winner. Now, this season it went horribly wrong for him at Chelsea. God knows what went wrong. He seemed to have problems with half the squad, and it was an absolute disaster. But he's done, I think, 12 full seasons as manager and won the league title in 8 of them. So he is certainly a winner. Won it in Italy, Spain and England and Portugal. So he's won the title everywhere he's been, all the clubs he's been at. So we'll be getting a fantastic coach, in my opinion. Now, there are a few pros and cons to us getting him. Some people are a bit unsure on him with the fact that they're not sure if he's going to play the same attractive football that we've been accustomed to under Sir Alex Ferguson. Now, first off, he doesn't play defensive football, in my opinion. Against the top teams, sometimes away from home, he will go there, and some people call it park the bus, but he will play a more defensive style and try to nick a 1-0 or something away from home at the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal and teams of that ilk when he's in the front in the league. Generally, if he's 6 points clear in the title race and he's playing away at Manchester City and they can bring the gap back to 3 points, he'd go there and try and get a point, which I don't see as a problem, because if you lose that game, it narrows the gap. Now, obviously, he did it against Barcelona for Inter Milan, park the bus. They had 10 men against Barcelona, so he had no choice but to park the bus that day, and he did a fantastic job at doing it. And I think it's fair that in them big games, that you want to keep them tight. You don't want to lose them games because they're crucial in the title running in most clubs. And generally he beats most of the small teams. So I mean, at Real Madrid he outscored probably the best Barcelona team of all time. At Chelsea he got over 90 points one season, the most in the Premier League ever. So he's an absolute winner. He's won the League Cup a few times, he's won the FA Cup, he's won the Italian Cup, he's won so many trophies, and I still want him to be the next Manchester United manager. And for the people that are unsure on him, who do you want to be the manager? I mean, if we go and end up with another muppet like David Moyes, then we could go to end up being a fucking Liverpool type team where we don't win trophies year after year, not challenging for the title year after year. And we at Manchester United do not want that to happen. We want to start getting back to winning ways, and I think that whereas he might not be guaranteed for us to win the title under Jose Mourinho, it is a lot more likely than it is certainly under Louis van Gaal, and certainly what it was under David Moyes. I mean, the football under David Moyes and Louis van Gaal has been absolutely shocking. You cannot say that this football is certainly 10 times worse than the football that Mourinho plays. So it's definitely got to be an improvement on what we're seeing right now. And I'm sure he probably won't guarantee a trophy, but I'm sure he could win at least a League Cup or something if given ultimate funds to spend at Manchester United, which I'm sure he will get. Now, the only problem will be is obviously if we're not in the Champions League, it could be a bit harder maybe to track the real top players. But Manchester United are a massive club. We pay massive wages, we can pay massive transfer fees, so I don't really see that being too much of a problem. We should still be able to go out and sign some of the best players in the world. We did it when Louis van Gaal first come here. We signed Angel Di Maria, world-class player. All right, admittedly he's ended up going, but we still managed to sign him even though we weren't in the Champions League. We can do this. We've signed Anthony Martial. All right, admittedly this season we were in the Champions League, an upcoming prospect ahead of other teams. Other teams probably were looking at him. There was reports that the likes of Barcelona were looking at him, and we've snatched him. So Manchester United is still a big pull for players to come. We've got 75,000 people watching every fucking week. We should be able to pull them in. We are one of the biggest clubs in world football. The only real down problem that I'm hearing a lot of fans say though is this thing about him not playing youth players. Now, personally, I think the youth academy here at Manchester United is better than around the the other top Premier League clubs. Some Premier League clubs do have some really good youngsters coming through. Southampton usually have had a lot come through over the last few years. And Everton have had a couple come through. John Stones, Ross Barkley have come through that have been fantastic players. But Manchester United, year after year, have had players come through the ranks. Now, it's obviously got harder. Manchester United haven't had as great players as they have in the past, but you're not going to get another Ryan Giggs come through. These players just don't grow on trees. But we've still seen some solid players come through. We've still seen the likes of Darren Fletcher, Johnny Evans come through, who are still decent Premier League players. You know, most of these academies, the likes of Arsenal, Manchester City, don't even produce players of the ilk of Johnny Evans and players like that who come through the youth. Darren Fletcher was a mainstay in the Manchester United team until he sadly got ill. So I think that the Manchester United academy is better. We've got some okay players coming through the ranks, the likes of James Wilson, Fosu Mensah is coming through, who I've heard a fantastic player, scored the other night for the under-21s, and looking a good defender. There is other players, Will Keane's banging in goals for the under-21s. So if these players are really good enough and are seen as world future stars, got Angel Gomez coming through, who's only about 16, who's taught as being a really good young prospect. If these players do fulfil their potential, I am sure that Jose Mourinho will give them a go, because if they are looking like they could go on to become world class, I'm sure he will see that talent in them players. He's no muppet. He is one of the best managers in world football, and I believe if they're good enough, he will give them a go. He did play Loftus-Cheek. Admittedly, he didn't play him a hell of a lot in his first season in the first team at Chelsea, but he's still only 19, Loftus-Cheek, and he gave him a go, and he could still go on to become a solid player. So he gave him a go. I'm sure he will. I mean, there's no point in just bringing young players into the Manchester United team that just aren't good enough. I mean, personally, I'm not too sure on some of them coming through Manchester United. Adnan Januzaj, I'm not too sure if he's up to Manchester United's standard. If Jose Mourinho comes in, I don't want him just to put players like Adnan Januzaj in and Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard's done okay, better than Adnan Januzaj, because Adnan Januzaj's not even getting a game at the moment. But I don't want them just to come into the team for the sake of it. If there's a better player in the Manchester United team, or someone out there that's absolutely world class that Manchester United could go and sign that's even better, then obviously you've got to put them in. But I still think he will give some of the youngsters a try, because there are some good youngsters here, world class ones. But I do think that Jose Mourinho will be a good appointment. I think it is the one we need to go and get. I think anyone else is just going to be a risk. You know, the only other name really is Pochettino, who I did say at one point could potentially be the next Manchester United manager. He's about the only other one who does play decent football. He's promoted youth, but that could be a gamble as well. He hasn't won any trophies yet at Spurs. The expectation level is less at Tottenham than it would be at Manchester United. At Manchester United, if he goes and spends 150 million in the summer, then all the expectations are to be winning at least an FA Cup or a League Cup. That would be the bare minimum, and challenging for the title next year. Otherwise, that would be seen in most people's eyes as a failure, and which Tottenham haven't had the pressure of. Most people were seeing them as potential Champions League contenders this season, and not potentially title contenders, although they have become title contenders, but the pressure wasn't on them to become title contenders. So I don't know. I'd like to see Pochettino stay at Tottenham for a bit longer before potentially we could have him in a couple of years. If Mourinho decides to go, or it doesn't work out, then yeah, true, we could decide to get him then. Giggs is the only other name really in the frame, and I think that would be a massive gamble considering what's happened to Gary Neville at Valencia. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the situation. It does look like it will be announced pretty soon. It seems pretty much everywhere that it's almost certain that Jose Mourinho will be the next Manchester United manager. I'm hoping it's announced soon so it can give Manchester United the lift. I don't know if it will actually be announced before the end of the season, but it would be good. It would give us that lift and hopefully boost us on to actually win something between now and the end of the season, so that these players can really go at it, try and get that Champions League football, whether it's via the Europa League or miraculously through that fourth place spot, so that we can get it for Jose Mourinho, so he can have a real bash next season, bringing in the absolute elite players to get us back challenging for titles. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all again soon. See ya!